see just how far these next two players can get. You know, they've gotten this far so far in this losers bracket, but one of their runs just might be coming to an end. Versus Gameplay's own SSGuy versus Milky Coco. Now, Mario versus Mega Man. Two characters, both of them starting with M's.
Yeah,
but definitely very, very different characters.
Okay.
You know, with SSGuy, we're expecting a very Turtle-style sort of Mega Man.
Right.
But Milky Coco, he
goes in.
ham. He goes in.
So
he goes in.
I know a lot about these two players, actually. Milky Coco, the kind of Mario. First of all, Mario's whole game plan, get in, get damage. And Milky Coco is one of those players who loves to press buttons. He will press all of the buttons in your face and do all of the damage out of every combo. SSGuy, meanwhile, you know, uses Mega Man's game plan of keep the opponent out as long as possible to the best of its ability. And he is the most patient player I know.
And
So-
even their colors is it's just the epitome of fire and ice whenever I look at it. With Milky Coco being this honestly this like ball of flame, he's really driven into becoming among that upper echelon of players. And SSGuy certainly a respectable win to go and add to his death note that he's been creating in this losers bracket.
You know, it reminds me of something from the Smash doc that I watched. Basically, it's like, okay, Milky Coco is like KDJ. He's a ball of hot fire. Meanwhile, SSGuy is like Asin. He's cool as a cucumber.
Cool, calm, and calculated. Well, let's see who's going to win in this first game. Already, we've been noticing that Milky Coco, the way he's trying to avoid some of these projectiles is by going airborne. And SSGuy might be starting to pick up on that. I've noticed a couple of aerials here and there to intercept and tack on a little bit of extra damage whenever Coco gets close.
I mean, that's the main goal. If your opponent's power shield game is not on point, or their shield game in general, when you're throwing out the projectiles, your goal is to make them jump. Your goal is to make them jump a second time. And then once they've run out of resources, you capitalize hard.
Oh, I'm looking for some of those capitalizations from SSGuy. We've seen our fair share of up tilt from him. Yeah, we got to be on that. It's double jump watch. But ooh, now a little bit of change-ups from Milky Coco, starting to utilize that cape a bit more just to deal with some of that projectile pressure. I love the way that he sent that leaf shield right back.
Yeah. I mean, SSGuy, one of the Mega Men, he'll love to use that leaf shield to get some free grabs, because once it hits you, you know, there's not much you can do to get out of it.
And I feel like SSGuy has been...
Ooh, the forward air!
Ooh, okay. SSGuy's certainly been watching some of these scat videos for sure. The saw blade setups, I'm really digging them. Really digging them.
Ooh. Here, he just loves to throw it diagonally to cover so much space. He'll land it in the opposite spot and say, okay, either you eat the saw blade or you eat me landing.
Caught between a saw and a hard place. Milky Coco, that crash bomber on, gets
He
clipped, but
wasn't
the up air ends up connecting on SSGuy.
Ooh,
He
this
still
is
has a bit dangerous, but he's still able to make it back, only to get forward thrown off. And Milky Coco started to charge up that flood a bit. The Nair forcing him off stage. The crash bomber connects yet again, and is going to detonate for a little bit of damage. Not too much knockback.
And there we see the down smash, able to take the first stock. This is where SSGuy really struggles, because if he can't take the first stock, he starts kind of fishing for the kill in a manner that is so outside of his normal play style.
You know, I want to.
There he goes with a back air.
I want to see, I guess, a bit more shielding from SSGuy whenever we start seeing Milky Coco go airborne, because he's been coming in with a lot of aerials, and I feel like if he gets maybe one of those perfect shields, he could just get a strong finisher with something like an up tilt.
Right.
Or, you know, just an up air.
I did not expect that to kill whatsoever,
Well,
but
when
here we
you're
go.
in-
At
when
150.
Yeah.
150%. I guess a tornado will kill you.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
But man, right now, it's back to one stock. And right now, like I said, one grab, and he is going in. Every button is being pressed right now, mostly the A button.
Mostly lots of A buttons, 56%, and this is one of the issues with SSGuy. Whenever he gets to play his distance game, he really does a good job of attacking on that percentage, but you can already see from Milky Coco's playstyle, he's playing it so close to face. There's so much pressure being exerted on SSGuy right now, and he's just having a really tough time coping with it.
Yeah, I mean, this is literally two polar opposites on the field, and once you let the other person play their game style, you're losing, regardless of what's happening. So right now, Milky Coco's got all that extra percent. It doesn't matter if SSGuy can box him out, because with 2 minutes on the clock, he's going to lose if he just lets the clock run right now.
Would it be a little too greedy to maybe go for, I mean, up till obviously this percent, not quite, but I'm saying maybe in about 30% start looking for some of these up tilts.
I feel like that's definitely one of those, after he hits Milky Coco to like a sweet spot percent with some of that rage, he's got to look for some of those desperate, I am throwing out this option so I don't time myself out kind of situations.
And the timeout is something we have to be aware of. I just noticed that clock approaching that minute 30 mark, and SSGuy, he's already in the upper hundreds.
Ooh, that down air almost connecting into the up smash there. Down air is such a solid move by Mario to just like connect into almost every other move he has.
This guy's starting to bring it back. Milky Coco having a hard time closing out this stock here. He almost nets that back here, but Milky Coco able to avoid. There's a punish on that whiff dash attack. Milky Coco coming in with that fireball. Doesn't really get a whole lot out of it, and he finds himself back in the corner yet again.
All right. I feel like, oh my goodness, that's terrifying. One back throw from Mega Man might actually take this right now. Oh my god, the big head.
The rolling into up smash. Oh, and that's actually interesting because when I look back into the match itself, whenever both of them were playing in a mid kind of zone,
right,
Milky Coco would just power shield and then approach. This was the first time I think we saw him really roll in after Terry had started committing to some projectiles and then come in with an action like an up smash. So
right. I
good
mean,
adaptation.
You
Good,
picked
nice
the perfect time to just whip it out. Right there, hyper sense. Game is coming to a close. That timer does run out eventually. I mean, sometimes he took that solidly.
Sometimes that for glory tech, it works sometimes.
Man.
We take those.
Hey, man, I heard you like defensive options, but I'm going to use mine offensively.
Best defense is a good option. Somebody somewhere one time said that, and then a bunch of people copied it. I don't really remember where I was going with it. But game 2, running it back to Town City. So a bit of, I guess, maybe like a bit of an impulsive counter pick of sorts, you know, the run back. But what's going through Terry's head now that he's down a stock?
I mean, one thing that he could be thinking is that might just be his best stage to combat this matchup because he does have the platforms to play with, but they're not too helpful to Mario to get all the extra combos as maybe something like Battlefield, even though that is one of SSGuy's favorite stages. He's also thinking, I got enough room to run around and I can throw out my projectiles, and I know that I can play my game because I was doing it last time. It was just one mistake.
This is just really tough for SSGuy. It feels like the wins that he's been getting in neutral have been the long projectile game because Milky Coco has done a great job of adjusting to close to the mid-range using options like the cape as well as the roll-in that we saw previously. But on top of that, he's just been putting in so much pressure so far in whenever it's up close and personal that SSGuy just has not been able to find any footing. Already 117%.
Well, it's because the whole idea of his game plan, very low risk, very low reward. You keep your opponent out, but for how long? And tack on a little bit of damage. But the second that your defense is disrupted and they get in, their medium risk, high reward gameplay is very rewarded, especially with someone like Mario. Medium risk to try to get in, very high reward once he gets a grab, gets like an up tilt, gets a down air, gets some damage.
If I'm SSGuy, I need to figure out creative ways to close this stock out quick. Maybe shift up the tempo a little bit because something that you touched on in the last game was right now the game is playing incredibly in the style that Milky Coco would like it to be played in. It's on his pacing, it's on his tempo, and because of that, SSGuy just hasn't been able to properly execute his own game plan.
And right now, what really has been happening is Milky Coco has controlled the stage for so long because SSGuy will give it up just to throw some more projectiles. And when he's doing that, he's never throwing Mario off stage and taking advantage of one of his weaknesses, which is his lackluster recovery. And then he can't get anything off of one of Mega Man's, strengths, which is his edge guarding. He can go for those ledge trump back airs, get some damage, take some early stocks.
Oh man, that was so clean from Milky Coco, catching the saw blade and then planting the back air on an SSGuy. All about to lap him as far as percents go. Milky Coco definitely impressing us so far.
That Nair cut through all of those lemons, only to be caught from the foot by Mega Man. Throwing him back off stage. Can he get the edge guard? Ooh,
no edge guard, and this is another real failure to capitalize. We touched on how critical it really is for SSGuy to go and start with some of these throws and start getting those edge guards, but not even a percent of damage. Nearly getting the KO with that back throw. Milky Coco throwing out that Nair, but SSGuy weaving underneath and coming in. There's a beautiful RAR back air.
Sealing the stock. He has 3 minutes to work with, 100% on his back. And right now, Mario using his Mega Man's projectiles against him. It really is just a hard knock life. That's another thing. Like, one thing about SSGuy specifically is he knows that he has sometimes a problem pulling the trigger. So even if he has a read on his opponent, he doesn't want to commit to a hard option if he can just sit back and throw like lemons.
This is actually a situation where we saw Milky Coco struggle whenever it came to that last stock, and it was the end game. He had a bit of a hard time closing out the stock, and SSGuy was actually able to come back. Already we're seeing a bit of desperation as he whiffs 2 smash attacks in a row. So maybe this is SSGuy's chance to come back, but I don't know if he'll be able to come back from a pure damage standpoint with the time that he has on the clock. He might have to look for the kill.
Are we just going to ignore that Milky Coco sat there and spot dodged like 7 times in a row?
He's
we real 4 Glory boys right now.
All the 4 Glory tech. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if it is broke, patch it.
Man. Milky Coco was saying, hey, if you're not going to do anything, I'm going to sit here and dance real quick while that clock ticks.
Oh my god, I loved that falling tornado. The fact that he was able to cross up SSGuy and get in that grab, fantastic. But yet again, no kill coming out from Milky Coco. He's having a lot of difficulty here, and SSGuy is slowly starting to climb back into this match. A second back throw, that's going to do it. And a bit of a pop-off from Milky Coco as well. Very hard-fought battle, but at the end of the day, Milky Coco coming out on top. You know, he was able to close the distance. He was able to really negate a lot of that projectile presence that we saw from SSGuy. And honestly, looking at those games, even though SSGuy started fighting back near the end, for the majority, it was in control of Milky Coco.
Definitely. He was just able to get in and play his game. Because the thing is, long range is SSGuy's game. Mid-range, it was kind of even, but Milky Coco started taking it. And once he starts taking it in the mid-range, he gets a free access directly to the close range where he just dominated.
Exactly.